Okay, so at the end of this section, you will be able to create a login page. This will be the coding you will be writing. So, and then you will be able to enter, let's say, a username and let's say a password. And then you'll be able to click the login button, and then it will take you to a second page. So the first page is going to be a HTML page, and then when you log in, your second page is going to be a ASP page. So that is what you will be doing in this practical at the end of this practical. So let's see how to do it now. Hi everyone, welcome to the ASP.NET Login User Interface Part 1 lesson. We'll be using these tools for this lecture, and you need to make sure you have these prerequisites, the previous knowledge. So in this session, you will be learning about creating the login page and the user interface creation part related to that. The lesson plan is as usual going to be practical demonstrations. Okay, so let's start doing the practical now. So the login screen, let's see how we should start on that. So first of all, you need to create a new project. So let's click on the create new project button at the bottom. So if you didn't see it, it's the create new project. And on the search over here, just search for ASP.NET C#. So we are going to develop ASP.NET web page, and we are going to code it in C#. And from this list, select the .NET framework. So select ASP.NET Web Application .NET Framework, right? Make sure you select the .NET Framework and the C# language. So click on this and click Next. So then give the location wherever you want to save it and give a project name. So select the location and let's say select the folder and give a project name, and keep the rest of the settings like that, and then click Create. So your project will get created. So for this, make sure you select empty project for now and just say create. Now the project is getting created. Okay, so now the project got created, and you can see the ASP.NET project here. So on the project, right click and say add new item, and let's create the login page. So select a HTML page from the list, and then just give the name over here as login.html. Okay, and just click add. Okay, so now we have our login.html page, and the basic HTML code will be generated. So in this, you can design your login page. So let's say you put a heading H2 login page, and now let's just run this right straight away just to see whether this works. So to run this ASP.NET project, you have to click the run button over here, and then the project will be starting on IIS server. So it's going to run in a local server because this is a web-based project. So click on the run button, and it will start the server, and then it will run and give you the output. So this is the output. As you can see, it's running on local host server. So now you know that your login page is in action, right? It's working. So now let's add the text boxes and the labels. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to add the rest of the user interface components. So usually what you do is you will put a form tag, and inside the form tag is where you put your text boxes, labels, and the buttons. So now we will add the text boxes and buttons to complete this login page. So just type the text username, so then it becomes a label. Now in front of this, just type a text box. So just type this. So it says input type text. So which means you are creating a text box, and you give a name and ID so that you can refer this text box and get the value. So why you give both name and the IDs? in some browsers the name will work, but in some browsers you need to have the ID. So it's better to give both. So you can refer by one of them and just give the same thing as the name and the ID. So now let's run and see whether you can see the output of this. So once you click on the run button, you will see the output comes, username and text box is there where you can type some username. And now let's add the password, right? So that let's add the next line for this. So you just add the next line, just type password and just type input type password, so that it's going to be a password, and just type the name and the ID. So this input type password means you can enter a password. So if you run this now, you will see that it works, and you can enter the username, let's say ABC, and because second one is a password, it acts like a password box where you can't see the password. Okay, now let's add the buttons into this. So to add buttons, just we'll write the next instructions. So usually in a web application on HTML form, when you create a button, the type you can, if you want, you can put the type button, but usually you put it as submit, so that you can click the button and send all this data into a certain location which you can specify. Okay, where you want to send, we can specify it in the form. So if you submit, it's easy to send all the data into another page. So that is why you put it as submit button and the value given as login. Now let's run this. So you should see a button because submit is a button, and you should see the text login. So as you can see, it works. So you can just put a username and a password and then the login button, right? At the moment, it is not taken to another page, but you can program it so that it goes to the next page. Okay, so now you have the basic login page. Now what we'll do is we'll add a small image into this. So first of all, I will create a folder in the project. Right click, add a new folder, and let's call it as images. And then I'm going to download image from the internet, a copyright free image, and then I'm going to add it into this folder, right? So let me download the image, and then let's add it into this. So the image, after downloading, you need to put it into this folder. So the easiest way to get the location for this folder is right click on the images over here and select open folder in File Explorer. So when you click that, it will open that folder, exact folder. So what you have to do now is just copy the image, downloaded image into this, right? Okay, just paste the image, and then what you have to do next is you have to add it to the project. So right click on the image and say add, and say existing item, because the image is already there, and then it will take you into that folder which you created because you copied the image into that as well. So just select on the image and click add. So the image gets added. So now you can add the image in the web page by putting image tag, img tag. So let's do it now. So just type this tag imgsrc images, because it's in a folder called images, and when you put a /, it will figure out that you got a login.jpg. Okay, so now let's click the run button and see what's the output. So I click on the run button, okay, and then you will see the page loads, but it's a large image. So now you have to just give the width and the height for the image. Let's do it now, right? So let's specify some simple width and height into the image. So just give this values width, some decent value, and the height, and then when you run the program, you will see the image comes in that given size. So now you got the web page, and then if you need let's say some gaps or spaces to be around, you can just add them. So you can, if necessary, you can add extra breaks so that it gives some extra space if needed. Likewise, if you want, right, over here, and Yeah, and then let's run and see this. It's up to you, you know, so to give those gaps with line breaks. Okay, awesome. So now you've got the login page, and let's put a color into this instead of black color. Let's change the text color. You got the decent login page now. Let's finish it now, this part. So just add a font element over here and just say the color is blue, and then when you run you will see that you get that in blue color. So now we have the basic page where we can enter username and a password, and let's say when I click on the button I want to go to a second page, right? Let's say I want to go to the next page. So because of that, if I want to go to the next page, what I have to do is, let's create the next page, right? So right click on the project and say add and say new item. Now the second page, if I want, I can create a HTML page. If not, I can create a ASP page. So in this case, I will create a ASP page. That is because I want the second page to be dynamic, meaning based on the username used to login, I want to say welcome. Let's say if admin login, I want to say welcome admin. So if a guest user logins, I want to say welcome guest. So the second page I want to dynamically change. So if you want to dynamically change, then it's not HTML, it should be a ASP page, which is a web form. So if you want a ASP page, what you do is you select web form from this and then give a meaningful name. We'll call it as welcome, right? So the welcome page, and click the add button. Now the moment you click the add button, it creates the welcome ASP page, and let's see the content of it now. So once this code is auto generated when you create the page, now you can see in ASP page you have HTML, but this is not a HTML page. As you can see in the Explorer, Project Explorer, the extension is ASPX, it's ASP page, and also you can see the line number 1. So this is a special tag, right? So these are special directives and you don't see them in HTML. So what this says in line number 1 is, it says it's programming language is C#, right? And so it says this ASP page is there, and then it says the logic will be written using C#, and then inside ASP page you can write normal HTML. So that is possible. So now I got my welcome page. So now how do I connect the two pages? So what you have to do is you have to go to the login page, and in the form you can give a action. Action means where when you click the submit button, where do you want to go? So here you can select the new welcome page what you created, the welcome ASP page. So what happens when you give action is, when you click on the submit button, it will go to that. So that is why you put the submit button instead of a button. If you put a button, you have to write extra coding for it to go to the next page. But if you make it submit, it's by default submit. Technically submit means you send some data into another place. So it will go to the welcome page. So now let's run this. So if you run this, you will see, okay. So let's put some username, let's say ABC, and let's put a password, let's say 123, and click the login button. So now it takes a little bit of time when I click. Why does it take a little bit of time? It's because it's connecting to a ASP page, right? So when you create a new ASP page and when you connect it for the first time, it takes a bit of time for it to do some translations. So now it's loading. So how do I know the ASP page is loaded? If I look at the URL over here, I can see it has loaded welcome page, but it's empty because we didn't write anything in the welcome page. So what we'll do is we'll copy this line from here, and then we will go into the welcome ASP page, and over here inside the body, just above the form, let's put that, and let's say welcome page. So now you know that it's, so then we know it's the welcome page. So now if I go to the login page and click the run button, so it will load the login page, and if I put some username and password and click the login button, it takes us to the welcome page. So this is how you connect a HTML page into a ASP page. So now let's see what's next. So I just put some text in a paragraph. So P means paragraph, just to say welcome to the ABC homepage. And then I would like to put an image below this, a welcome image. So let's put a welcome image now. Okay, so let's copy to the same images folder. So how do you do it? Once again, right click on the images and just say open folder in File Explorer. So it just takes you there, and then what you have to do is just download the image. Make sure you acknowledge the copyright. So I have downloaded a copyright free image and just put it over there. And then if you want to add that image similar to how you did it in the HTML, you can just come and put a img tag, image tag. Just copy that line and then go to a welcome page, and let's say over here, okay, let's say over here, doesn't matter where it is, say at the bottom, just put the image. We are not using the form, but I will just leave it, keep it like that. Okay, and this time it's not the login image, it's images. Okay, so welcome dot. So one thing I forgot to do is you have to add the image, isn't it? Right? So you have to right click. I forgot that. So you have to right click on the project and say add existing item and add the welcome image. Then only it will come over here, right? So now if you type slash welcome dot jpg, right? Okay, so let's not put the width and the height for now. Let's run and see how this works. So if you want, you can straight away run the welcome page by just clicking the run button from here. Right? You can just run and you can see the welcome page loads, and the image size is too much, so we have to reduce it. Right? So let's reduce the image size. So let's give a width of let's say 500 and a height of 400, right? Some width and some height. So let's run this now. Okay. So now you can see when you run it, you will see your welcome page. So now this welcome page is ASP page, and one thing important is, if you want, you can run the login page by double clicking login and clicking the run button, or if not, you can directly run the welcome page while being in the welcome page by clicking the run button. Okay, so now let's see what's next. So now you have created the basic user interface. Only thing, the validations are not yet done. So for example, you can just click the login button without any username and password. It still goes. So that is our next step. So that validation, those steps we'll be doing in the next lecture. In this lecture, we completed the user interface of the login page. So as mentioned, we did the practical demonstrations. Conclusion is we created the login page and the user interface. References, we'll be using ASP.NET and C# developer docs throughout this lesson series. So look at the next part to complete this topic. So this is the first part of it. So now let's look into the login validation, and form validation part, and also make sure to have a look at our other videos, practical lessons on ASP.NET A to Z. So we are very excited to see you in our next lesson. So see you in the next lesson.